to Volume 3 of the Adventures of Susan MeeLing, Scuba Diver Extraordinaire, chapters 10 through 20. So, picking up where I left off, the attachment from right there, that particular top of the machinery is a picture I took while I was ascending to the surface. The best way I can attempt to describe the area that is laid out at the bottom of the ocean, where I landed at least, is similar to the stadium seating for various locations of sports events. Whether when going to a movie theater as well, or an opera house, or a football game, the similar arrangement of which the naval vessels had landed whenever they had been in similar to that in certain references. Though there had been several other ships which had landed on top of one another in the region, I did not take images of those wrecks with the camera. I did have a limited amount of space. Though there had been several other ships, from the growth of which is all over the attachment, including one inside of the chains, one can see the discoloration as well as from the amount of time down there. I would guess the era from which is World War I for that type of chain link which are clamped together in the machinery. I do not know what of the specific in particular machinery attachment is called, but I guesstimate there are people who do. However, one can also see the steering wheel in the back area of the machinery, as well as a rack off to the side on the left. I'll show you the picture again in a second, or a little bit. If one looks closely at the steering wheel of the ship, there's a fish which looks like she is driving the vessel. Also, if you look to the distance of the water of the ocean, you can see other fish in the area moving forward. So, I will point that out. There's a little fish right there. Little baby fish holding on to the steering wheel. And get a little closer, see the little fish. And then, the silt inside of the chain link. And then again, the type of chain link. That chain link I do not believe is currently used, but it could be. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that sort of machinery, but there is a fish right there moving forward. It's several hundred yards away, and then there is a ship right here, and then a ship right here as well, and then one over here. So you can see in that stadium style. So, and then there's one off to the side over here. So, just a few. Now, the particular portion of one of the naval ships in the area of that particular naval shipyard is a ledge which I had to swim around, as the silt, which could have been disturbed, is so extremely finely ground, because those who know what silt is know how fine that can be. The amount of cloud which would have distorted the ascent would have been problematic if I did not know how to keep my buoyancy controlled while being aware of my surroundings when in that area of the ocean. This particular fish, named the Pterophyllum silver gray. Also, those who know the size of the portion of the naval vessel can verify the size, as I have stated in other pictures, of that particular species of fish in comparison. Fairly accurate in the 4 to 5 foot, or 48 inches to 60 inches, or I got the numbers incorrect on the meters for that particular, so it's, no, 60 inches, 20 meters, I think it's 20 meters for 60 inches. in the diameter for that particular size fish. Those who know what that particular aspect of a naval vessel is could verify the numbers to be more accurate in measurements. Someone in the Navy or the Coast Guard or the Marine Corps or the Air Force or the Army who have been on a Navy ship can say that that's probably, so if you look at it in comparison, the width there, I would guess, to me, would be about 5 to 6 feet wide. And then that fish in diameter is a little bit wider. So now this cutie patootie right here, little cute. And that is a aircraft. You can see the biplane wing. And you know, it landed on top of a Navy ship, as you can see the naval ladder in the background of the fish. So that particular fish right there is, I named the Extraordinaire luminescent tigre. Though almost alike, but related in some ways to the Extraordinaire luminescent sawtooth razorback, this particular species does not have that razorback, but it is just as vicious. The particular fish in picture is another young one, about 7 months old, and is around the length of 35 feet long, or 420 inches, or 140 meters in length, if I'm doing the math correctly. As those who have been near biplane wings would know, the fish is just under the halfway of the thinnest horizontal portion of the wing, of the overhang for the upper level, but also the lower level of the biplane when it crashed into the ocean, and the damages to the wing you can see right there because it's sliced up. So when the biplane had crash landed and wrecked into the ocean and landed on top of the naval vessel of whichever one that is, because there's a few down there, quite a few. To see the Vandenberg when going upward further before the pictures that I had shown. The biplane wings with the carbon fiber-like material, for which the string which area has been seen clearly. That's the string. I know that it's not a string. I don't know what the term is, so I typed string for that to give the verification for the size, not just of the height, but the length for the razorback one, for the overhang in reference to the Extraordinaire luminescent tigre. In comparison, since this one is younger than the razorback. Thankfully, all those fish down there did not feel threatened by me, nor did they look at me like I was dinner. So, you know, there is that plus, you know, because that would have, but I was able to take the picture, and again, that is not zoomed in, that is not a filter, that is not photoshopped, that is the way the picture was taken. But it was on one of my safety stops, so that might have been actually at 999 ATMs and not 99 ATMs, or at 9,999 ATMs, or at 99,999 ATMs, or 999,999 999 ATMs. For the depth level, but for short, Tigre. So it's really deep in the Matthias abyss. That's what that lesson is. Though again, it is called the abyss, so it's not like it's not known by the specific aspects of. So now getting to the actual Vandenberg. There is the deck with the railing. There's another little fish, although that's not so little because, you know, you can see one of the rails. This was on the other side. And then over here. So whatever the distance is for that rail to that rail, it is more than 2/3 of the length of that. And then, you know, the height from that to that. And there's another one of that type right there. There's a cute little fishy. It's a cute little fish. I mean, and so those who know the Vandenberg know what part of the ship that is. Don't think that's the mast. But there's a ladder. Not making light of the situation, just, you know, pointing that out. And by the way, as I descended, there were no fish in that area. But look, as I was ascending, no fishies. I mean, granted, you know, they're taller than the rung of each of those ladders. But, you know, they're bioluminescent, so there's that. So for those pictures of the Vandenberg, there's that bridge, that area. And then there's the American flag as I'm going upward. So you can see that it is during my ascent that you see the American flag from the bottom of the ocean. And you can see my air bubbles in the picture. And then here's 2 more pictures. There is a difference in the American flag and the way it's waving in the current. You can see I am at that height of whatever that particular part of the Navy ship is. I don't know. Not to sound stupid. Oh, and then there is a cute little fish right there. I mean, again, what I consider cute. So that guy, the little guy right there, not little, but, you know, sticking his head out over there. And I told him, don't you come at me because I don't want to have to punch you in the face to defend myself. I realize at this point it's a little big because, you know, however tall this particular portion of that is, his head is the size from the bottom to the top. Yeah, cutie patootie little fish. And, you know, in this picture you can see him smiling. Like, okay, I won't make you mad. I'll stay right here and not, you know, get punched in the face. And then that's a different type of, I wanted to speak with Noah and some marine biologists about that because I have not seen anything in fish identification that could describe that. And I know, like, the, how do I put it, the not the word is not I understand the biology-ish aspects, but coming up with an explanation for that. And yes, I see, I did notice those particular fish, which are the length of those metal bars. Cute little bioluminescent ones. And then here's a picture of as I'm surfacing, but looking downward during a surface interval. And then here is a picture, a different one, and as you can see this little yellow piece right here, that's a tentacle from an octopus. It's a cutie. And, you know, I told it, don't you do that. And it listened. But no, that is not my cavern scuba diving hose, because I wasn't in cavern scuba yet. And that particular tentacle, well, it's about 24 inches around, and that was just the that was close to the tip of it, you know, similarly to the one little TV. You stay right there. So that is going to be essentially the end of those particular pictures for the time being. And so really quickly after I got back from the scuba dives at the Vandenberg, I really quickly left because I wanted to make sure my children and my niece were okay. And when I got back to the hotel, I had told the front desk clerk that I needed to book an extra night. And the clerk had asked if I had really enjoyed the Florida Keys area, and I said yes, but told him about the scuba dive in brief, and he just looked at me and he said, "What did you just say?" I said, "Well, you know, the scuba diver I was assigned to didn't know how to do a free descent and was rude and didn't care about the other scuba divers. So, you know, I was just standing at the bottom of the ocean, you know, next to the Vandenberg." And then, you know, just how I mean, now I understand how that guy didn't see me. At that time, that was not registering at all whatsoever. And again, with the yellow tentacle that was in that picture, that's how close that tentacle was to me, because at that depth level, you do not see that color. For example, really quickly, so that it's understood for those scuba divers and marine biologists and Navy guys and Marine guys, NOAA and Coast Guard. So you cannot see the blue. So in atmospheric measurements, as you go down, you cannot see red, then you can't see orange, then you can't see yellow, then you can't see green, then you can't see blue, then you can't see purple. You cannot see the blue, but could capture the color of the yellow. That's how close that octopi listened to me, or octopus, because it was only one, but still, nonetheless, it listened. I don't know what's wrong with the chair, but anyway, so, you know, I told it not to grab my leg, and go back down to the bottom of the ocean so I didn't have to punch it in its face. And it listened, obviously, because I am at the surface on land. But yes, I told the Days Inn guy about that, and he looked at me and said, "Oh my God," and I was like, "So I'm a little bit tired. It was a long swim from the bottom of the ocean. Did not realize how long of a swim that was." But nonetheless, it was a long swim. And you know, don't forget, you know, that whole different levels of compression and, you know, being angry at the scuba diver I was assigned to, who was not respectful to the other scuba divers, and then, you know, dropping down again after snorkeling, not forgetting that. And so, you know, I was a little tired. I don't think anybody could realistically blame me for being a little bit sleepy. After, you know, descending and then ascending and snorkeling and then descending. But nobody can truthfully say that when scuba diving with me, there is realistically any worry, truthfully, because, you know, no poofy fish, for one example, no shark that was claimed to be a nurse shark, but no, not at that size. Not at that size. No, because nurse sharks only get to, like, what, at most 15 feet? And, you know, if that guy felt like it, which I'm glad he didn't, he could have laid on the back end where the tail fin met the part of the body, and he would have still had room if he were to go like this for that portion. And so that was just the width of the thinnest part of that shark. And that was not a nurse shark. I told him it was not a nurse shark. But he was the instructor. So, okay, fine, if you want to call it a nurse shark, but that was not a nurse shark, and nonetheless, a shark nonetheless. But yes, I got an extra night at the Days Inn, and made sure my children were squared away and got them some food, as well as my niece, and then went back to the room. And after, not that they didn't have enough food in the room to begin with, but, you know, just to make sure, and went to the store as well real quick. And then I was like, okay, I need to lay down for a little bit and get some sleep. Just a little tired. Just a little bit, you know, just a fairy size sleepies. And so then the next morning, woke up and checked out of the hotel, and we went around Key West a little bit, and then went back to Boca Raton. So, you know, at least I didn't have to hear, "Can we stop for a coconut?" Because they had them. You guys have a good one. Like and share and subscribe to my channel and all that stuff.
You guys have a good one.